Hey, what's going on, everybody? Movie Phantom here, and it's Wednesday, and we got some viewer comments. Now, this first thing ain't even a comment at all, but Lloyd Kaufman dropped my name on Facebook, or I'm sorry, on Twitter. The other day, because he did his spoof rant, making fun of Hui Bowl, and anyway, somebody was, they dropped his name or whatever, and I replied to that comment. I said, yeah, you should really check out that video. And then Lloyd Kaufman retweeted that, and then turned around and he dropped my name and the person I was talking to's name, and then, of course, along with the video. And it was kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie. That's the closest that any, body within the biz, I'm not calling it an endorsement, but name dropped me. That's the only time I've been name dropped. The movie fan's been name dropped. I'm not gonna lie, I'm proud of that. So, thank you, Lloyd. Fucking awesome. Of course, I've been, dropping trivia here and there, and I dropped They Live the other day, and Lori Holt, she said that, she loves They Live, loves the epic fight scene, between Piper and old Keith David, and yeah, I fucking agree. I can't agree more with that. It's just, yeah, the movie's awesome. And then, of course, I was talking about, actually, I wasn't even talking about Evil Dead here. I was talking about Day the Earth Stood Still, Klaatu Barada Nikto. And he said, Byron Orlock said that those were, I didn't know this, they were actually, those names were used for Boba Fett's henchmen in one of the Star Wars movies. So, hey, look, I learned something new every day. Check that out. And then, of course, I dropped something about the loved ones, and Ricky Shore said he, dug that. Or they said they dug that. I'm not sure who runs the Ricky Shore Facebook page. I'm not sure if it's Alex or Marissa. But either way.
Both.
My assistant director, everybody, Maya, behind the camera. I think it's both. We'll say both. So, boom. There you go. There's that. The Omen asked, what was my favorite Christopher Lee movie? Man, there's so many good ones. But if I'm just going to cut the bullshit and just go straight to, my number one, I'm going to say The Wicker Man. His best performance, bar none. Although, I'm not going to lie, performance-wise, yeah, I'm going to say, no, it's Wicker Man. Wicker Man. I don't want to taint anything else. I really dug his character in The Man with the Golden Gun. In fact, my favorite Bond villain. That's second. Javier Bardem kind of killed it in Skyfall. But he's definitely my second favorite villain. And for the longest time, he's my favorite villain. But wasn't my favorite movie from Bond. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I'll say Wicker Man. Wicker Man definitely is probably my favorite Lee movie. Warren Cocking asked, what was my top 3 Jackass stunts? Oh, man. There are so many good ones. Okay, I'm going to go mostly on the movies. I haven't seen the TV show in such a long time. But I've seen the movies numerous fucking times. I love the hallway that had the tasers. I forgot what the stunt was called. But it had the tasers and cow prods, moving around. And they had to, run through without getting shot. Of course, it was damn near fucking impossible. Love that. I think here. I dug the opening of part 1, I think it was, where they was in the giant shopping cart. I'm sure everybody who's ever had a shopping cart stolen from the local store and had a hill in your alleyway or something like that has ridden down the hill on a shopping cart. Dangerous as fuck. We were kids and we did it, But watching that movie, I'm thinking to myself, dude, if I was there, I would do that. That's fucking awesome. And then I would say, if I had to take a third one, I'm gonna go with, that was good, but I'm gonna go with, I always liked it, and they did it several times. It wasn't just one instance. I think they did this mostly on the show, actually, not the movie, where it's called Fat Fucks, and they wear the pillow stuffed in their shirt, and they do the treadmills and shit, and I just think that's fucking hilarious. And in the same one, they would actually they throw skateboards on the treadmills and bikes, and they just fall and hurt themselves. So that's my 3 right there. Have I ever been to a wrestling event? Yes, been to several. Been to several local ones, which I know you're probably thinking higher. I'll get there. But in my area, there was a small company called SWA, which I forget what the fuck it stood for now. There was IWA, and then there's WCWO. And I've been to all three. And I think there may be a couple other ones that maybe I'm leaving out, but those are the three main ones that kind of went in my region. And yeah, I hit them up. I used to hit them up religiously. I hadn't been to a wrestling event in a long time. I kind of got out of wrestling there around 07. I went back to IWA Mid-South for they had Cage Fest or Raging in Cage, or it was something to do with cages, and like the entire event was just cage matches, and it was kind of cool. But I haven't other than that, haven't really gone. As far as the big events, way back in '99, my first wrestling event was Sunday Night Heat, back when it was actually like a live ordeal, and that was pretty cool because they had a bunch of dark matches, but they also shot they filmed Shotgun Saturday Night. They filmed something else. It was some kind of Spanish program or Puerto Rican program, something like that. Because there were a bunch of wrestlers I didn't even recognize, but like the big main event was like Savio Vega, back when he was relevant, and but he was there for that. But they only had like 2 matches. I mean, I said like big shows. 3 matches. They wasn't like a big thing. But then they shot Heat, which was live, and then the main event was a dark match. But the main event was fucking awesome. It was this was back when the corporate ministry was reigning high. So you had Undertaker and Triple H against Stone Cold and The Rock, and this is like when The Rock was just left the corporation, but that it was just it's phenomenal. And at the time, I thought it was awesome. But looking back, those were like the 4 biggest dudes that that emerged from the Attitude Era, in my opinion. And I'm like, they was all in one main event. How fucking sweet is that? I've been to Monday Night Raw twice. And I'm not gonna lie, they blur together. I just remember the one cool thing was they had the first one I went to was like 04, I think, 03. It's around the time Kane unmasked himself the first time. I don't remember exactly. I don't think he was there. If he was there, I don't know. He didn't wrestle, but they same thing there. They shot Sunday Night Heat, because that was when they started doing Heat pre-taped, and then they. Not really any dark matches other than that, I don't think, on that first one I went to. They shot Heat, and then they went ahead and had Raw. And I don't remember what the big main event was. I don't think they actually had a dark match main event. I can't remember, but the fuck was the main event? I don't know. The highlight match, though, was they had Dudley Boys versus Evolution. And it was Batista, Orton, and Triple H. Table match, elimination. And I won't say Triple H, or maybe it wasn't Triple H, maybe it might have been Ric Flair, Batista, and Orton. But either way, Batista and Flair were taken out early. So you're like 3 against 1, Orton's fucked, and then Orton came back and took them all out. And I was an Orton fan. I was an Orton fan. I love the Legend Killer. I don't know. I got out of it when I tried to come back in. He was doing this whole Viper thing. I'm like, I'm out. He's wearing these bikini briefs, and I can't do it. And then the last Raw event I went to was, we're going back probably 06, 07. And, yeah, they shot a couple dark matches, then they had Sunday Night Heat. And then they had a main event, and then they went ahead and had a dark match main event. But it was like they used like John Cena. He wrestled Chris Benoit. This is prior to the murders, but they had that match, and it was pretty good. And then he had to fight Umaga, and it was weird because it was leading up to WrestleMania. I want to say he was on the road to WrestleMania, and he was Cena. I forget who he was supposed to be fighting at WrestleMania, but he had like a world title match then, and they're just like, we're making a world title match. I'm like, bullshit, really? Like, yeah, he ain't losing this match, And he was against Umaga, and he ends up beating him or whatever. And it was pretty cool. I mean, I say out of those 3 WWF/WWE events, I gotta say Sunday Night Heat was one of my favorite because I was a kid, my first wrestling event, and just and I remember like one of the pivotal moments of that was Gangrel screwed over Edge and Christian because they was the Brood at the time, and of course he screwed him over, and then he didn't really amount to much after that anyways. But I just remember that was like one of the highlights of that evening. And of course, The Rock was there, cutting an awesome promo and shit. It was just a really good time. Like I said, then the main event. We stuck around like after the event's over, like after the match was done, because Stone Cold and The Rock won. Triple H and Undertaker and The Rock was fighting through the crowd, and they're gone. They exit, and so all you're left was with Stone Cold and Triple H. Stone Cold stunner and wins it, and then like his post-match celebration was like consistent of him stunning Triple H, and then at times Triple H in China, like 12 times in a row. Like, it was just ridiculous. Like, he'd do his beer, he'd do this whole, the crowd, belt in the air. And then Triple H would get up, and he'd fucking stun him again. And then he'd go back to celebrating. And dude, like, it never got old to me. Like, literally, I'm just like, this is great. Fucking stun him again. And dude, I swear, I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. Easily like 10 to 15 times. Just fucking stun. And then at one point, like, you know, Chyna gets in there to help up Triple H. And then he comes in and, you know, kicks one, stuns it. And then Chyna's like, what? And then boom, again. It was awesome. And then I saw WCW once. And that's the last one. I won't stretch this out any longer. But Nitro. And this is back when Nitro was actually 3 hours. Right before it dropped off that third hour, though. So it was I would say 99. I went to go see it. Anyways, they were in the middle of a huge. This was around the time Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara maybe jumped over. And the two things I remember the most was you had the world title. It was vacant at the time, and they were having a big tournament to fill that. And anyways, this had to be, I guess, the last 8, and then we had the round 2 matches, or how many people was in it. But after all the winners, we had the Final 4. Well, the Final 4 was thrown into a Fatal 4-Way match for the U.S. title. And my favorite wrestler of all time is Scott Hall. Like, I'm just a huge Scott Hall fan. It's unfortunate that his career has, but for his time, Razor Ramon, Scott Hall to me is just the greatest. So anyway, it was Scott Hall, Bret Hart, Sting, and I want to say maybe Psycho Sid, or he was Sid Vicious at the time. But it was a 4-way ladder match for the U.S. title. And anyways, hell of a match, fucking sweet as hell. But they decide to come out, or they bring out a special guest referee, which you wouldn't need a referee, I guess, for a ladder match, but it was Kevin Nash, of course, Nash and Hall are, buds. And it was great because, Hall's losing hardcore, and Hart hasn't won, and Hart's climbing the ladder. And he takes the belt, and he's coming down, and of course, Nash just pops him with like a bat or, whatever. And Hart goes down, Nash picks the belt up, and he's just standing there. Here's the ladder. I'm going to be off frame, but, like the ladder, is up back here, but he's just standing there, like right next to it. And so Hall climbs like 2 rungs and then grabs the belt from Nash's hands, falls down, like, he just, and it was great. Like, I fucking loved it. And then the other thing that's notable about my appearance there was the brief appearance of Seven, which, if you don't know, remember Seven, Goldust, when he came to WCW, was going to be repackaged as Seven, which is going to be like their Undertaker, I guess. He's just kind of a dark man in the shadows. However, the storyline, like, he just got trashed. He comes out as Seven, but then he rips off the hat and I guess the mask, or I can't remember what it was now. And he just cuts like a, he shoots, there's a promo, and I don't know. I'm so excited. I was like, oh shit, like, Seven, because at this point, the promos for Seven has been like, left and right. And I was like, shit, yeah, like, we're getting, Seven's here. And then, of course, it was nixed right then and there. And then, of course, Dustin Reynolds just done shit in WCW after that. And wouldn't really come back full force, so, became Goldust again in WWF. So, but yeah, those are the wrestling events I've been to. Yeah, all solid. But yeah, I'll say my favorite one was probably definitely Heat, though. So, and then finally, you asked what my scariest experience was. I'll tell you, aside from when I did my top 3 yesterday and I mentioned that whole shark experience, another time I was even scared more. And what's weird is, and I'm not making this up because this documentary just came out, is legit, like, this ain't the Phantom bullshitting. This documentary came out recently called Nightmares, I think is what it's called. And it deals with people who suffer from sleep paralysis or whatever, or have night terrors. Now, I've never honestly experienced anything like that continuously. Now, I've had moments where, I don't know, maybe other people are saying, I feel better now that I hear other people have experienced something similar. But I remember there'd be times where I'd be falling asleep, and for whatever reason I am terrified to fall asleep, and I don't get it. Like, because who's scared to go to sleep? I never was. I love sleeping. I can fucking sleep all day long. But every now and then I'll just get that moment where I'm trying to fall asleep, and I feel myself slipping. It's like I'm being pulled into sleep. And I don't want to sleep yet. Okay? And for some reason, I just know there's going to be a horrifying nightmare on the other side. And I struggle to get out. And it is literally like you use all your energy to break out. The only time I've ever experienced anything weird, and once again, I am not a believer in ghosts or anything like that. I'm just not my bag. But I did experience something kind of weird, and now after seeing about this documentary, I got more of a grasp on what it was. I didn't make the connection at the time. I woke up a long time ago. I was in a different apartment than I am now, and I was on the couch. And I always slept on the couch. Like I had a bedroom, but I just always I didn't have a TV because they always say you never put your TV in your bedroom because you'll never leave the bedroom. But then I never left the living room. Like I just slept on the couch all the time. But I wake up one morning, and it's like I woke up, but I couldn't move, and I can hear the TV, and I'm sitting there, but I'm trying to struggle, and then I hear this weird moaning noise, and it sounded like. The best way to describe it is almost like if you were putting on like a cheesy haunted house and you just get some old man to start moaning, like do it, moan, but it comes off corny. It sounded like that, but it's not corny when you're laying on your couch and you're hearing it from behind you. And dude, I fucking flip out, but I can't move. I am trying to fucking move, and so literally after what seemed like an eternity, probably wasn't that long, I finally somehow break free, and when I break free, it's all gone. It's all gone. And at that time, I was like, could it be a ghost, Like, nothing else has ever happened then, before or since. But I was like, maybe a ghost. But more than I was like, it couldn't be a ghost. And I was like, well, I was still sleeping. Maybe it was a dream. And so I just kind of shoved that down deep like it was a dream. Until I started watching, or I saw the trailer for this documentary. And I looked it up myself. I did my own little research. And I was like, that's probably what it was. I was in that little sleep paralysis, like, that middle state between dream and reality. I was right there. But yeah, that was actually very terrifying because, yeah, as far as like scariness goes, I'm going to go with that one right there. That's definitely my moment right there. So thank you, Warren Cocky. And I'm sorry, you was one of the guys, you and the Omen both, you guys asked these questions last week, and I didn't get my notifications. I didn't see the little thing right there. So I'm very sorry I took so long to get around to those, but... this next guy, I always ask at the end of each video, I'm like, send me your, questions, comments, blah, 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 and love mail, hate mail, and I got someone take me up on this hate mail thing, Fazakis Alex, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He starts, this is the quote right here, he starts off with a, no offense, which usually when someone starts off their sentence with no offense, there's to be some offense taken. But he says, no offense, but you guys are really fat. Referring to, me and, Maya. And I was like, okay. And that was it. Like, nothing, so I was like, alright. And, I'm the kind of guy, like, literally when people, I've only had, like, 2 other people that's ever really kind of, gave me shit on here. I'm not the kind of guy that's going to shy away. I'm like, I'll sub the guy. If he has a Facebook link, I'll friend him up, I'll hang out the guy, whatever. So I go check out his page, and it was just very disappointing because, like, there was nothing. Like, he had no subscribers. I was his first subscriber, so I was, felt pretty honored to be that guy. And I went through his videos because, I want to see, what I'm dealing with here. And the guy just, I'm assuming he's a kid. I'm going to say he's a kid because, most adult people wouldn't make a mean comment like that, like, without any cause anyways. So I'm hoping it's a kid, because, kids don't really know better, they're like, hey, you're fat. But it's like, if it's an adult, it's even sadder, because that means, like, this guy literally, who could be 30 or 40, just, miserable with his life, like, you're fat. Awesome. But I'm gonna go check his videos, see what, this guy looks like. And no videos, he had 2, but they were, like, animation. Like, he does, like, cartoons and stuff. Kind of like, if you watch Adult Swim, which I love Adult Swim, it's like a sub, like takes like Adult Swim's animation, like divide it by like 5. That's what his animation looked like. Like really no effort put into it that much. Much like his insult, not much effort put in there. So, but once again, I'm not the kind of guy that's gonna like hide from the, someone calls me out like that. I'll throw it out here. I will put it on the show. So, but yeah, you're observant, On a side note, and I think I embarrass Maya a lot whenever I bring this up because she's kind of like quiet about it. But we've been dieting, this past couple months, and she's lost 11 pounds. Bam. I'm not gonna mention how many times I've lost because it's not that great. Like I lose a lot and then I gain it back. It's just it fluctuates. But yeah. So there you go. These next 2 comments I've really dug, and not really comments per se because I just kind of wrote down the overall. But 13th Wolfman and Nico Boss Obos, I got it right this time. They commented about on the Sunday Showdown. Pissed. I'm not gonna say pissed, like it was actually angry, because you know I know, especially 13 Wolfman. I know this guy. You know, he's a good cat and everything. I don't really know Nico, but I'm sure there's no anger, legit anger behind it. But they were just like, how the fuck did Dexter win? Bullshit. You know, Dexter's a little bitch. And whole time I'm reading these comments, I'm like, but you guys didn't vote. Like, it came down to a tie. If either one of you guys would have voted, Dutch, who was from Predator, would have won. Plain and simple. So it's the equivalent of like when people complain like how politics are going one way or another, but they don't vote. So it's like, well, you can at least try. And I can even understand that even, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't vote either, and I'll bitch about politics hardcore. But it's like, you know, one vote don't matter. Like, it just doesn't. Whereas on the Sunday Showdown, yeah, your vote would have counted, and not only that, you could have had Dutch win. So yeah, guys, sorry, it's one of those like, you know, hey, if you don't vote, you know, you can't really complain a whole lot. So. And this thing, I was against Dexter too. I wanted Dutch to win. You guys let me down. You didn't just let me down. You let Dutch down. You let Dutch down, most importantly. And you let Ghostface Kid down. He was hoping to get, you know, a triple crown. You know, win that third title, but you guys robbed him. You guys robbed him. And speaking of my brother, Ghostface Kid 101, he had a couple questions for me. The first question was, what are my thoughts on all these, like new, not really remakes per se, but all these classic horror movies being turned into TV shows, or the fact that there's a lot more horror TV shows and just not enough mainstream horror films out there at all. I've been noticing this is kind of a big trend, and I'm not really sick of it yet. If the shows would go to a station like HBO or Showtime, I'd be happier, because you can just get, you can push the envelope so much further on those two shows or those two stations. Whereas if you do like NBC, like, I just had those desires to see Hannah. It's like, I'm like, NBC, I don't really give a fuck. Like, how much are you really going to show on NBC? You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, MTV's another example. Like, I think, did Scream come out last night? Or, I don't remember. I know it's coming out soon. And like I said, I had no intention on watching it. I just don't plan on watching it. Unless it maybe comes out on Netflix later on or whatever. But it's like, are they really going to really push the envelope that much on fucking Scream, the TV series? Probably not. It's definitely geared toward a younger audience, and so I just feel like, I don't know, if these were all sequels coming out in theaters, like we were getting Scream 5 or The Omen, whatever they're at now, how they did a remake recently, another Psycho movie instead of the Bates Motel, I'd be more apt to check them out. But the thing is, it's like, I don't know, TV shows, and they're great. Don't get me wrong, I do like watching TV shows, but like I explained the other day, when it comes to TV shows, like, I have to be in the right mood, and I hate trying to check it out every week. Like, I just hate that. And not just that, I don't even like watching seasons, because, like, I'd much rather just wait till the show is completely done before I even start. Because, like, once you wrap up the season, you're like, oh, that was so good, I want to see the next part. I gotta fucking wait now. So, I don't know. I'm okay with it right now. I am kind of disappointed in the lack of mainstream horror. Like, I know now, like, I know like indie horror and underground horror even, they're thriving. They're dominating right now. And that's good. But, like, I do miss the days of, like, Miramax or, even like Warner Bros. Someone like one of the big, studios dropping horror out there. And it just seems like we're getting less and less of that. So I kind of wish we can have it both ways, where, because I'm glad that TV is now being taken over by horror, other than just crappy, melodramas and, bullshit like that. So I'm definitely, I'm glad to see that, horror's infecting television. I just wish it didn't take away from the theaters. So, but yeah, it's kind of a wait and see thing. We'll see how it plays out. I'm sure a year from now I'll be sick of all these horror TV shows and shit. So, I just wish they emphasized more of the horror on certain shows, though. Like, it just seems like we got a slew of them coming out that have like this weird action or detective or comedy infusion, like iZombie or the Frankenstein show, or whatever the case may be. And I don't know. We need more like Walking Dead. Like, I don't say we need more Walking Dead, but we need more like The Walking Dead, I guess. So, and then finally, he wanted to know if I had any other stories where I got in trouble when I was at school. And I gotta say, there's really not, except for that one time I told you about the fight I had. Other than that, no, I've actually I've always done pretty good. Like, I've never actually, you know, I was always more well behaved. Any kind of trouble I'd ever get into, I would nip it in the bud. Because I definitely came from, I wouldn't say I came from a strict home, but they didn't put up no nonsense. Like, I couldn't just come home and be like, oh, I got in trouble again for running my mouth at school to a teacher. They just wouldn't put up with that shit, and I knew better, like, not to, you know, push it. I mean, once again, it was just mostly I would say something in class that would rub them the wrong way, and then a good example is, I mean, even at a young age, I was pretty sexist, and I'm sorry to, you know, the 2 or 3, who am I kidding? There's no female viewers watching this right now, so I guess I don't have to apologize too much. But even at like a young age, like I was in 3rd grade, I was very sexist then, and they were talking about, you know, women have the right to, you know, do whatever they want. And I'm like, well, that's all fine, dandy, but like, then why can't is not? And this is a young kid. This is me. Like at like, you know, however old you are in 3rd grade, like I don't know, 10, whatever. And I was like, well, what, you know, why is it, you know, different if we're equals? And I go out and I punch a boy, you know, I still get in trouble, but it's not on the same level as if I went out and punched a girl. Now, I'm not saying I'm condoning going out and punching women. Like, I agree, like, you shouldn't. But that doesn't make them equal, then, now does it? That kind of puts them down here. They get that special privileges, you know. It's like, I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not trying to start a fight with anybody out there. Hey, I love the ladies. I'm not saying go out and pick fights with, you know, girls. But I am saying that there is there's different rules there, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just can't go out and, you know, if I go out and, you know, I'll still get the assault charge for beating up a guy, but it's going to be like 100 times worse when I beat up a girl, because then now everybody's like, oh my God, look what he did, you know. It's okay when you beat up the scrawny little guy. Fuck him, he's a man, he can take it. But, you know, you hit the girl, oh, that's different. And you're right, it is different. So don't sit there and give me the whole, well, we're equal, no, you ain't fucking equal. But I said that in the 3rd grade, and dude, like, the teacher flipped out on me. I'm a kid asking an honest question. Like, I had no, like, political agenda here. I was just like, well, they're not really equal, are they? And they're like, they're equal, and they can do anything. I'm like, whoa, okay, fuck, you know. And I was like, I'm not going to argue this. Like, what's the point of arguing? I'll get sent to the office, and I'll get in trouble when I get home. And I'm sure my mom would have flipped out if she would have known I was sexist or some shit. So, I mean, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll live to fight her day. So that was pretty much it. I never really got in too much trouble. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of something else. Maybe I did, but no, I was usually always on the straight and narrow. You know, usually the trouble I would get into would be, you know, elsewhere or whatever. But yeah, never really at school. But I want to thank every single person out there who participated. I know this is a long video, and I'm really apologize, but I actually I had some good answers this time. You guys had some good questions, so yeah, I want to thank everybody out there who you know, asked questions or comments. Guys, you know, got any kind of question for me, Maya, Man with No Name, any of my other guests, past even, you know, Corn Children. They're in a cornfield. There's a phone there. I can call them and, you know, ask for you. You know, Simon Terrell, El Blanto, any of those guys. Jimbo, I can get Jimbo back on the show. He's busy right now. Just had a kid. You know, congratulations, Jimbo. But yeah, if you got any kind of questions at all, comments. You know, you got some requests. You want me to, you know, review a certain movie. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of busy on this list right now. But you know, you got some recommendations for movies you want me to review at some point. Throw them out there. Love mail, hate mail. I'm not gonna shy away from hate mail. Just be a little more creative, is all I'm asking, you know, like, pointing out the fact that I'm fat is kind of like pointing out, you know, kids in a wheelchair. It's like, hey, you're in a wheelchair. It's like, well, yeah, you're very observant, you know, good for you. But, yeah, just so you know, I'm not scared to bust out the hate mail here. So, yeah, you know, any kind of question, comments, doesn't even have to be horror-related. I always prefer the horror-related ones, but it is kind of fun to venture outside the horror circle for a little bit. So, yeah, that's all I got. Movie Phantom, and...